Good morning. This is Jolene with AJeweldDesign. We're back for another week of Thursday. So I have a new kit, and normally I would do a reveal with you on Tuesday, but this one required a little bit of, finesse, a little bit of play with me, journal with me, and so I had to do a lot of tweaking with it. I had to do a lot of work with it. And so some of this is not in its usual, like 8.5 by 11, show you the pages, and then, play with it or cut it. This one has been sort of pulled apart. It's showing you all the elements actually outside of their 8.5 by 11 print, what they would look like once cut up. So I really want to jump into this one and show you its potential and sort of enjoy it with you. So we can get it all in an hour. You get your reveal with me and your journal with me all in one video this week as we head into we're in our third full week of March, I guess. Are we fourth? Oh my gosh, let me look. Let's see. This would actually be our fourth. Oh, wow. See, I'm already behind and ahead at the same time. We've had a long month. We've had, when the first of the month starts on a Monday, you get full weeks, right? So no, this is actually our fourth week in March, and it's our third or fourth video of retro baking, cooking genre journals. And yeah. So we are just trugging along. I've done the whole retro sweet treat with you guys. It's a much brighter baking sweet treat genre and design. And today I'm bringing you a softer Shabby-Retro recipe keeper journal. And that's what I'm calling it. It is a recipe keeper. It is something that you could make as a signature journal and add your favorite things to it and fill it up nice and wide and crocodile it up. Or, as I'm going to do with it, we're going to sort of cut it in half and we're going to put it on, we're going to reuse cardboard boxes from cereal boxes and things like that. And we're going to make another attempt at a ring binder. I'm not going to make it a series this time. we're going to talk about it today, start the process, show you what this kit can do. And then as I work on it, when I'm not doing digitals, I will do quick little bonus videos, little 15-minute increments, and show you where I've gone with this, how I'm doing with it. And it'll be available to you guys. It came out on Tuesday. This is Thursday, so I released it on Tuesday. I did release it out, just no video. And it's been out there, and you guys will see this, hopefully, and you will continue to peek in and see how we're doing with it, and hopefully it'll inspire something, and you'll want to possibly go buy the digital journal kit and create something that you just love, right? That's all we hope to do, is that we create the things that we love, and we use them, and we admire them, and we keep them, and we save them, and we just enjoy them. So today is the Shabby-Retro Recipe Keeper Journal, and okay, I'm going to try to keep this around 40 minutes, right? So that way by the time my 45 minute timer comes up, I know to wrap this up, hopefully, because I could talk forever, and I don't want you guys to be here forever. It may just mean, okay, there'll be a part 2 to this if I don't get very far. So I'll try to keep it to the point. I'll try not to talk too much, but I really, after making the retro sweet treat kit, and I had so much fun with that, and the ephemera had so much potential, I wanted to, like I said, go a little softer maybe this time around, go a little bit more shabby. Not so much vintage, just shabby because of the lighter colors, but very retro in its shapes and its geometrics, and do just a simple kitchen recipe book. Because it isn't sweet treats per se. There is cupcakes in here because how can you, I love cupcakes. I love the graphics of cupcakes. But it was very much a kitchen recipe cookbook type feel. Without being like this massive, 50 million recipes, right? But I'm hoping you guys will make this with me and that you will use it to keep your favorite recipes and to write down your favorite memories that go with the recipes so that you can share that with your kids. You can pull it up for the summer, pull it up during special occasions and go, okay, we need to be making clam dip this week or this month because we have a holiday coming up, or someone's birthday and we have a certain cake recipe that we love, or grandma used to make this for me every summer. It's a jello casserole dish, and we need to make it this week, right? My grandmother used to make a cherry Coca-Cola, whipped cream jello 9x13 for 4th of July and for the summer, right? So those things that you have memories with, things that you love, things you want to pass on, and you just don't want to go searching through 50 million books or trying to find the old recipe book and it's falling apart, and maybe it's time to make something new, right? So here's my front cover, and I know this is a mess. This is sort of like a collage, and I'll try to sort of clean it up a little bit as we go along, but I did start pulling it apart to make sure everything worked, everything fit, things went well together, right? And I wanted to show you what you could do with the pieces. So we have a little bit of everything. So this would be your front cover. It has tabs front and back, so it sort of starts out the whole feel of your journal. And a great front cover. Like I said, you could just fold this. Maybe give yourself a smidge of a ream, okay, and fold it in a way where you could score it maybe twice with, like, I don't know, 1/4 inch apart. Give yourself a nice little thick cover and make it a standard journal cover so you can put signatures in it, okay? Or I'm going to cut it in half, and I'm going to glue this on to cereal box. It's not even cardboard, but what is that? I keep thinking of plywood, but it was going to be equivalent to a cardboard, right? You have cardboard, and then you have, like, the cereal box version of plywood, right? The thinner cardboard. I'm blanking out on the name right now, but so I'm going to glue those onto that. I'm going to make sure that the cardboard side is out so I can put paper on it. I can put all these fun things to it, right? So there's our front cover, or you can, or depending if you have something or you already have a heavier cover, this could be a great tabbed inside signature piece. So much fun, right? So much room to still play with, and it's decored up for you, and you can put a pocket here and your favorite recipes in there, and this could be the middle of a signature also. So it has potential for both. Then I made slightly smaller tabs, and these I had already cut out, so you can start to see, and I will cut this out when we get going. But the tabs layer up to where they just overlap, and you can write on them what the section's about. So if you made the front cover as a standard journal, give yourself, see if you can score it to where you can give yourself like 1/4 inch, and fold these two in half, and give yourself, and there will be a pink line here, so I did go back and border all these because, oh my gosh, they were hard to cut. I was like, oh my goodness. So there'll be a pink line here so you know exactly where to fold it or cut it, depending how you put it. And you can make this a cover to a mini signature inside the journal, right? Now there's 2 of these. Now, as you can see, I did put brown on the back. I have a brown paper. My printer's malfunctioning, which is why I don't have a perfect set of 8.5 by 11s for you guys also. I am trying to wear my printer down till it's completely toast. But there is this gorgeous moussey looking page. It's in the back of the kit that I gave you guys. You can, if you're going to do signatures, you could put them on the back, then decorate these up with our pockets and other things that I have designed, and I'll talk to you more about. And it's a great background because when I found the graphics, they had sort of this yummy color back behind it, and I loved how the colors popped off it. And so I did try to print a small version of my background to see if it would work, but there's still some lines in here. But you can see the lights and the darks, right? That it's a little wooded, a little bit like wood, like you maybe find the paneling of your cutting board, or you would find on the walls of your house, depending on the year. But it also felt to me a little bit like mousse, like you just started mixing up ingredients to make chocolate mousse, and you would have the light spots where the milk hadn't quite moved in, and the dark chocolate or the powder, and you were mixing it up, right? So I'm hoping this pans out too. I love the look of it. I wish it would print well for me. But like I said, my printer is malfunctioning, and the new one just arrived, and I haven't had a chance to swap them out yet. But I was hoping if I could show you guys, you could sort of see the lights and the darks and the molding, the marbling of what could be a chocolate mousse, chocolate, yeah, chocolate, it's always good. Chocolate cake, whatever. But you could use this page, which is a full page, to back anything you wanted. Now, it's really dark, so backing it to writing on it would not work. But the back of these guys, I thought was really cool because then you could, you know, use the other side. Sorry. I have pages where you can make your own tabs on here, add a layer to a tab, label it for both sides. The tabs are plain on this side, so you could label it from the other side if you're flipping through, so you know both ways what's in the middle of this signature at all times, right? And my cut work is terrible because you can't quite, at least I can't, maybe you guys can, maybe you guys are way better at this than I am. I can cut the top and bottom, but when it comes to here, I have to do it by hand. Brand new scissors, and I go, wah, or wah. It's terrible. I've never been able to cut. I'm left-handed, but for some reason I cut with my right hand, but there's such challenges with that. I don't know why. But the tabs are adorable. You can layer it on the inside, or you can use the outside. If you're flipping through the back side, you get to the back of the page, you need to remember what's in that front signature. Okay, you have the ability. So we have that, okay? So I love that for our first one. Or if we're making it a reading journal, you're just going to cut it down the middle for one cover, and then you have a second tabbed page to add in anywhere you want, right? We're going to have, for me, I'm going to have a lot of these extra plain pieces to add more sections, to decorate up, to trim off the tab, use the pieces. Nothing's going to go to waste, right? We never put anything to waste. So there's the second page. The third one, same brown background, I'll get this out of the way too, is another possible signature cover, right? So right now we could have two of these totally in our journal to section out our areas. So maybe we have our favorite desserts and we have our favorite family meals, right? However you want to do. And as you can tell, again, like I said, these are tabbed, are slotted to where they're not all right behind each other, because what would be the fun of that? So I will, well, there's this, and I'll show you what it looks like inside of that once I cut it up. But this one was cute. Measuring cup and bowls and your utensils, something you would see on your, maybe your countertop, up against the wall next to your oven, right? It is a sort of a kitchenette set, but I don't know. It was cooking, it was baking, it was your kitchen, it was retro, it was shabby, it was a little of everything. And I just loved the colors and I loved the graphics. And so I went ahead and used them and made sure that we made the most of each one of them. Okay, so there's a second or third page or second signature that we could use in multiple ways. There are 5 pages, or excuse me, 5 papers that come with a kit. And so I printed these front and back, but we have polka dots and all the pretty colors. We have that color, that pinky color that we saw in the back of, or on the background of one of the tabs. We have a buttery checkered also, with a little bit of speckled of pink and cream on the bottom to give it sort of a distressed border for something fun to use. You can cut it off, you can leave it in, trim it, whatever you want to do. Then the back has a sort of a sea foam. It's not mint, it's not teal, it's sort of a sea foamy color. This green is interesting. I cannot figure out what to name it because it's not teal, but it's not mint. So I guess sea foam would be the best color for it. And it has pink little stitch work in here. And again, sort of some distressed, smudgy edges. Then we have a diamond that matches similar to the feel of the polka dots. Okay. And then a buttery, oh, then I put the buttery one back on this one too, because I have five background papers, but I can't leave something blank. So I had to put the buttery back on that one too. So, okay, so we have diamonds, we have circles, we have 2 checks, and we have sort of this floral, repetitive geometric papers, okay? And these are going to be great. Now, my thought would be to make copies of these and put them inside the middle here, and added any other ledger papers and things that you needed, so you had something to play with inside your signatures, right? Now, right now, because these signatures are definitely smaller than your normal paper, we would have to decide whether to lose the bottom or lose the top and trim them up to fit what we wanted. That is something that I hadn't decided on, whether to shrink the papers. If you are able to, I would suggest shrinking these down. If you could, when you got to these pages in them, I think in my last 5 pages in the PDF, maybe suggest to shrink it by 75% in your print work and trim off the extra white so it fit inside these if you kept them as signatures. I hated to shrink the paper and not give you guys the ability to have them as a full page. But you'll have to let me know. If you guys buy this and you're just like, oh my gosh, my printer won't let me shrink it, let me know and I'll tweak it for you guys. I know I'm going to do another set of these soon. We're going to do a whole checkered paper pack. But like I said, I hate to shrink them to a weird size. So I don't know. We'll debate on that. But these will fit in here, and I will have to decide once I'm got everything trimmed. I will probably keep the tops of everything so it's decored, and I will probably trim off the bottom, but then that gives me beautiful strips to use in any layering I do. And of course down the sides, which again, you'll lose some of the fuzzies on the sides. Ooh. Thoughts. There's always something to work with. But okay, so I did really wanted to make the tab cover and then the inserts to fit inside that, so everything gets smaller and smaller. But you have papers to play with, and you're layering, in your collaging, you have those pages to match these guys. Now, If you decide you didn't want to, you do have 2 extra tabs sitting in your thing. You're going to get another piece of paper that's going to be side by side. And maybe I'll move this stuff out of the way a little bit so you can see them through the paper. There we go. And I hit record, right? I know, sorry, I always do that every time. If I don't track it, I guess it wouldn't be my videos, right? Julian's silly. Anyway, the next page you get is a combination of 2 new tabs, right? So if you decide to go with the more ringed binder look and you want the dividers in here, this comes down to more of a 5x7 traveler's notebook type journal. When we do it this size, as I feel it's more in that range, we go ahead and you have these 2 side by side. Now I didn't cut them right. I think I still need to trim something off somewhere. I think I over trimmed this one and that one looks good. But again, I put borders around all of these guys so you guys do not have to guess at where your lines are. Because these are fuzzed, I ended up cutting close to the circles when you have a little bit more physical space. This is me and my bad cutting too. So this is me and my bad cutting. But you have 2 more tabs. So if you do the ring binder, you get 2 more versions. You would have the front of these 2, so you have 4 decorative. And then you would have the back 2 to play with if you wanted to make 6 different, like say, sections to a ringed binder element. Okay. Otherwise, cut the tabs off and insert these somehow. Put them on another piece of paper. Border them with one of the other pages maybe. You know, if you trim it all down to fit, border it with another paper to fit, and you would have like a nice insert to your thing. Glue it on, maybe because I cut it down and glue it onto a paper, and then it fits inside here as a decorative. But they were sort of extras. You could either use them for the ring binders or find a cute way to use them as large ephemera, of course, in the journal. Okay, sorry, little one was asking questions. Okay, so, but again, these, when this is all cut down, will line up with what the top looked like, right? The top of this one and the top back of this one is in its place. So we will have all these lovely places that will, you know, you'll still have 4 kits or 4 tabs to add to these 2, or 2 and 2, 4 tabs total. The middle one for the front cover. And then if you decide to use the backs here, you would just have extra tabs or extra pages. Now you could take the tabs off these back ones and use them as maybe dividers within a section. So say like you have a dessert section, but maybe you have a keto section and a normal section, or a gluten-free section and a normal section of baked goods. You could divide your divided sections one more time and sort of have a dual placed, you know, tab with these that you could decorate up with. So there's potential. Like I said, I feel just depends on how many recipes you need to share determines how much you're putting in here. Now, besides the 2 extra tabs, we have ephemera. You have to have ephemera. And I call this the recipe keeper. So I figured that on the front cover or even on the inside of any of these tabs, you could do layered pockets. Okay. So my thought was you could, because they fit, inside here, layer up your pockets. Let's grab that one. Now they come, you have 6 of them, so they actually come up side by side. I'll just sort of show you on here so you can see them. And they come, of course, evenly spaced so you can cut them out. And the goal is to layer them up so that you could tuck in a number of your favorite recipe cards. You can either leave space in between them so you can see a little bit more behind them. They do fit one on top of the other. Just make sure you don't glue them together. Now the top one, the farther up you go, of course, some of your things may stick out, or these littler guys, more for cute notes, could go in here and almost tuck in, which is great because really, if you flip them around and you leave the decorative side out, when you had your thing flipped, you see this cute little decorative section on top, right? You see this cute little decorative thing popping out, which we love in our journals, right? We love when things sort of stick out. And so why not? But we do have small 6-up cards that I'll show you in a moment that will fit on the top ones beautifully. And then I just did that all backwards probably, but who knows? There we go. So we're going to glue down either 1 pocket, 2 pockets, 3 pockets. Not sure yet. Inside each one of these tabs. I felt like in the inside of each divider, instead of like a table of contents of what may have been in that section, you could put your favorite recipes that you want to grab quickly, right? These are your favorites. And these are the ones I use all the time. And as you see, I made a thumb notch, which I always try to make sure that when I do any circle, that my circles match any one of the EK or Recollection hole punches that you can find on Amazon and Michael's, because no one wants to cut circles out. By hand, I'm not good at it. Very few people are. If you are, I bow down to you because I'm terrible at circles. So these thumb notches are actually the 1.5 inch hole punch. So all you have to do, I'll try, is line it up to where you just barely peek and see the design. You're just going to back it up to where you can just barely see it. And when you hole punch it, I can't show you guys to do this at the same time, I'm afraid. But when you do hole punch it, you should have a perfectly clean border, right? Perfectly clean. Little piece left over, right? You barely see the border, but you know you have a nice clean cut as if it bled off and it printed that way. So every one of these has one. Some are easier than others to see, of course, but really once you get in there, go past it, come back out a little bit, and punch it. And it's just super clean, super pretty, all lined up. I love when they're still print, actually, because then I use those half circles in designs. I layer up with half circles. So we've got 6 pockets, 2 pages, or 1 page, 6 up, side by side there. And you can print these 50 million times and be able to decide which allotment or arrangement you want. I only have 2 that are decorative for the bottom because I felt that those are the ones you always want to see. You know, you want to block those with all your recipes, so you had to have something cute in the front. But let's see. I think these are too big and they would be at the wrong direction. And these guys, you could, if you wanted a smaller pocket, you could use my 6-up cards. If for some reason you had a smaller note or memory, you could use the smaller 6-up cards as more pockets if you needed to. But the nice thing is the 6-up pockets fit in here sideways. And of course, is it better? I always worry about this. Yes, once glued down, if you glue them right on the edges, the larger 4-up journal card notes will fit inside of these. And they will take up, of course, all the space. But that's the whole point. Like that's why I have cute pockets in base patterns. So like you could put these guys in here, do it just if that's there, you're going to line up, go, okay, well these two might be side by side and they may be right on top of each other. But that one's glued there, that one's glued down there. You put your card in there and you have the 2. Now normal size pockets are definitely a little narrower and a little wider. A normal, I can't say a normal, an older retro recipe card is like just shy of 5 inches wide, but it's only like 2.5 or 3 inches. Well, it goes this way, so it's only like 2.5, 3 inches this way, but about 5 inches this way. And come to find out, I got a hold of some retro ones, some older ones at my grandmother's the other day, and was working on them for my mom. And you know they're more long than they are wide. But it keeps a certain shape of everything, right? So we'll see. But you can trim these down. You can always trim these down, and I'll show you next how those work and make them fit to your liking. So you have 6 pockets to go inside of your covers. So each cover could have a couple pockets in it for the beginning of your thing, for all your quick, these are my quick everyday recipes I use, or these are going to be my favorites. And then we're going to find other ways to store the rest of your recipes in the other one throughout that section. Really quick, when we're talking about pockets, we do have what we call a pocket stackable, I call it a rectangle because it does sort of create one, setup. And this also looks really pretty creamy on this one, but maybe on the other side or your back side or front side, we have this. I have it in the retro sweet treats also, and they lay out beautifully. And these again fit when glued right, just barely, fit the larger cards, and then the front pocket definitely fits with no issues, if not even 2 of them. Say 2 of your favorite little memory cards. I put that in too far. And of course, one big one can go in the back. Okay. Which we have to be really careful when we glue these down anyway. We have to keep it to the edges so that we have all the room possible to stuff things into. But I loved this look. I've seen so many people with different pockets, and I was like, I've been making corner pockets and was hoping you guys might stack them, but I realized I was covering up all the fun details on the second one. And I'm like, well, that was silly, right? So I have one fun one that's decorative and one that's patterned. So it sits in the back, still can be seen, but you're not blocking like your favorite graphic down here with the other pocket. I was hoping, I think if you guys did it right, like maybe it was like, oh, well, you can do that too. You can always bring it up a little higher to where this one barely laps the bottom of it to give you a deeper pocket if you wanted to put something bigger in there, and gave you more depth and more stability as you glued it onto something too. Because you glue that down, that helps really stabilize the paper too. So we have this lovely stackable pocket. We have the thumbnail pockets. You do have more bordered labels. You have flags, or what did I hear someone call me the other day? Banners, because of the sort of bottom banner thing. Flags or banners, which are great to make paper clips with, so that we could maybe paper clip some of our favorite recipes onto a page or onto a cart, onto a tab. Again, so we don't lose them. We do have more tabs, so you can fold these in half, cut them out, and maybe you need to do a better decor, or you trim these out and you layer them over the tabs you have, depending on how you decide to do this. But you can tab out some of your favorite papers or pages. And then we have the washi bands. I wouldn't quite call them a belly band, because I don't think they're wide enough to really hold anything. But we have some belly bands of different sizes to layer and help decor with. Maybe you want the bottom of this inside a little more decorative, and we're going to do this, and we're going to add another layer. And we're going to sort of do that planner babe layering washi feel to add some more layers of decor. But I thought we should have them for just possibilities. You never know, right? Maybe we need this a little wider, so we glue this on, we fold it over to help with our paper clips. There's hundreds of possibilities, right? So there are some of the little stuff. But we're not done. But we're not done. Never, right? So we do have the cards. Okay, so here's the big things. And these look very thick, I hope, to you, because I printed them on cardstock. And I am calling these the instantly backed journal cards. Recipe cards. Some have recipes, say the word recipe on them. Some are just blank. And what you're going to do is you will see 4 pages, 2 of the 6-up and 2 of the 4-up, okay, that have their backings right beside them. So all we have to do is fold it, glue it, and trim around the image of the front, and you'll get a perfectly backed writing journal recipe option. Now, I'm going to show you how we would do this. These are the first ones I made, and I left too much white on the top and bottom. Drove me insane. I was like, what the heck? Not that I won't use them. Oh my gosh. I mean, and really in all of these, if that bugged you, you could trim them and it would not affect any of the design work, right? You could make them a little more narrow. Now these are smaller, and to put a recipe on this might be really hard, but maybe you don't need the instructions, but you can never remember the quantity of your ingredients, right? So write the dish and then write down the ingredients. You may know how to make it by heart, but you can never remember, am I supposed to have 1/3 of this or 1/4 of this? Whatever. I think it's my biggest thing is how much I'm supposed to use. Not so much in what direction or which way to do it. I can just never remember the quantities for the life of me. Remember how to do it, which order, but can't remember the quantities. So maybe it's just a quantity. It's just an ingredient card for you, right? For your favorite things. You got it down pat, but you can't remember everything. Or these are memory cards. So maybe you have a certain recipe that, like I was mentioning, my grandmother's cherry Coke Jello dish, and maybe it's more of it's my favorite recipe, and it's the memory. Who made it? When we used to eat it all the time, right? That kind of thing. So maybe it's become a little bit more of a memory card for you. This is a recipe keeper, a memory keeper, a recipe journal, a cookbook. It doesn't have to be just all what you make, but maybe why you make it. Okay, so these are great for little cards. And again, when you're putting that third pocket on the top, maybe you just want a memory in there, right? And to when you're flipping on the outside, you just see this pretty little thing, or you flip it around, and through the backing of the thing, it might have Grandma's Cherry Coke Jello. Oh, that's right. That's what this section has. And that's one of my favorites. Okay, I get all teary-eyed. Sorry. And then we have the same thing with the big ones. Now the big ones, I went ahead and made them all the way top to bottom, cream paper and lines. Nothing else on them, so that you can write recipe on the top. You can write the ingredients. You can write the instructions. You can totally decide, right? It's totally up to you what you want to put on these. Plenty of space to hopefully write on. I hope. I mean, we used to put things on, recipe cards this big, right? I mean, though you had front and back. My grandmother's had the ingredients on one side, maybe the instructions on the back, or both. Like, So maybe going vertical, you'll have a little bit more. You could do the list maybe in 2 and a little bit of instructions down here. Or this is the, like again, maybe these are the instructions here, but you've got something paper clipped to it where the instructions are separate, or instructions are in here and you have a little sheet. One of these sheets maybe put together where you have the ingredients on one, the instructions on the other. You'll have a cute set and paper clip them together, and we're going to put them in the pocket. No one says you can't have both in the pocket, and your whole favorite meal is right here. So, but these are what we call instantly backed cards, because this nowadays, like, it's getting harder where we're putting them through and we have multiple pages, and we have to remember to go back and back these. Now, of course, you don't have to do this. You can print these up like here, leave it be, flip it over, and you can distress the edges, and you can write your ingredients on this side and all your notes and how to do it on the back. You have this pretty one to decorate up, and the back is just a memory. No one says you have to put anything on the back of these. You can use these and have technically 12 6-step recipe cards, or 8 recipe cards that are the larger ones. One's decorative, one's writing, and you decide how you want to use the other side. Gives you more options, because I always want to make sure you have more options. So I'll show you 2 more pieces, and then we'll go back and start cutting up the rest of these pieces to fit what I plan on doing, hopefully. Okay, so I will come back to that. So we've got cards, we've got pockets, we've got a little bit of decorative pieces, and maybe more decorative pieces, right? So I decided, so after all of that, we have to have some fussy cuts, right? So these planar cards, the insides of the tabs, the tab divider pages, the back, we decided to divide everything up. You need to have something to decorate with. Can't not, and no one wants to cut up all your papers. All these pages are super pretty. The last thing you want to do is cut them up. So I took all the clusters that I had created, on the papers, and of course pulled them apart and made them nice and cute for you. These are like 1.5 tall, I think maybe this whole one is 2 inches wide, but it's only like 1.5 tall, right? Everything's under 2 inches in this respect. These guys are all what came from the papers, how I clustered them together from the original work that I received. And then I pulled it apart again and left you plain jars to layer up wherever you want. And then added some of these elements, simplified them, and added some flowers, because I did say Shabby-Retro, right? So not only does the color require shabby, but you have to have it feminine. You have to have it soft and pretty. And I said feminine. I always think of feminine when I hear shabby. So I gave you some flowers. I found some pretty watercolor flowers that I went ahead and made them really cute, really small. I layered them up on the cupcake or cake plate, added them to your blender, to your whisk, in the front of the jars, because these all said sugar, tea, and coffee. So I either simplified it so you didn't have a wording on it, and or put flowers on them. And then I made them 3 sizes. So you got bigger ones, medium ones, and smaller ones. In each set, there are 2 that are like down to 75%, so they're not quite full. They're not fully bright. They're a little less, a little paler, a little more blended. So each one has a big, a big light one, a big normal one, 2 light ones, 2 normal ones, 2 normal ones, 2 light ones. So as I flip things upside down, right side up, you had both a little lighter and then 100% bright, I guess. So I had to have some flowers because, oh my gosh, I am thinking my front cover, as much as I love it, a little bit of flowers and some lace is going to make it super feminine, totally go the shabby direction, and really have some fun. So I wanted to give you the option to reprint this as many times as you need it and be able to layer it up. And if you know how to, you can just do the bottom and do as many as you can of the roses. And so this was a work of love that I was able to find and have access to these images where I could purchase them, and I had the license to use them and not have to retweak it too much. I love the coloring. I love the work the way it was. I did regroup them to fit what I wanted, but I didn't have to do a whole lot to it this time. Normally I tweak everything under the sun, and this time I was able to use them as is and just add to it and then expand its look. And I'm so happy about that because I need I need to have fun sometimes with someone else's brain and just do the pagination that I love. So it's a journal kit to you guys in a way where you guys can use it and you're not trying to figure out how to clump it or cluster it or make it work on one, one item can be now, multiple items on a page. So this is your last page of your kit. Or second, it's actually the middle of your kit actually, but it was one of the last things I added to your kit with some fussies to help layer up on the simpler pieces and just give you some more of the same fun throughout the whole book as you needed. And we had to have the roses, and you take your whatever lace or doilies or delicate pieces you have from your grandmother's, hope chest and make this journal recipe keeper as feminine and as shabby as you want, or you leave it the way it is and you just do little bits and pieces and you have fun with it. So this is all one kit. This is all in one kit. The only thing that's separate, which goes with both retro kits, is a set of words. And I have done words for the mothers, but I hadn't done anything else. I didn't do words for the garden stroll because I have so many kits out there and the words that go with that garden stroll. I have a pink kit that goes with the garden stroll. I have a everyday use that's in pink and purple and teal and cream that goes with the garden stroll. So, but every other kit or so, I realized I need to do words. And since now this is my second baking, cooking type kit, it had to have baking words, I guess. So you have 40 words here. Nothing is duplicated, just the colors in the background. And 3 cute little cards that have some fun sayings that came from the other kit. And because this goes goes with both kits. This blends nicely with both the retro sweet treats and with this kit. Because you have the creams and the tealy blues and the greens where you could make this work for either kit. I think each kit has 3 of its own papers. So you bake me crazy, you are beautiful, and don't ever let me go. And the circles lined up just right. My daughter was like, Mom, put the circles inside the word. We had to do it. So you have hopefully enough words. There's 40 words here from baker, cooking, journal, cup, spoons, whisk, petite measure, deglaze, dipped, chocolate, of course, mixer to mix, sweetie, sweet, coffee, pastries, cakes, pies, cupcakes, sweet, powder, because we have baking powder and powdered sugar, and teas, yummy, delicious, memories, spoons, did I get them all? Flour. Yeah, I thought of everything that was already in the kit, and then in between the 2 kits, and then a few extras. So there's 40 words up here to use with the different backgrounds. 3 more little ephemera pieces. My daughter thought it'd be cute to put a hole punch here and string it and attach it to your journal, sort of like a tea bag, but more decorative. Otherwise, these are just cute little things to help decorate corners of your dividers, to help put on the back of a card, just be able to layer up with and have some fun. These are in black text when these are more of the milk chocolate brown that we use within the kits. So this is a separate, but this is under words. I think it's going to be baking words sheet. Will be the kink, but I will put the official, of course, link down below so you never have to guess. But the baking word sheet will be in the description for the exact listing. Otherwise, look under my words ephemera section in my Etsy shop on AJeweldDesign, and you'll see all the different word sets that I have. So either way, I promise they will be there. It's probably one of my lighter kits too. So that's something extra to go with all of this. But all in all, I think the whole thing, if you bought everything, would be under $6, which is pretty good, which is what my normal be. Because these usually go for about $1.25. And the kit itself here is going under $5. Because I feel that it's a good size kit, but it's not one of my bigger kits. And I've definitely gotten pretty big with my kits these days. So, and it's definitely sort of, the kit is very much to its, it has a purpose. It has a very specific purpose. Not that you can't tweak it and add it to hundreds of other things. But I feel like it can be its own set, and it can also be, added to something else. So, if we stick to the plan, these are going to be my extras, where I'm going to cut these up as much as I feel to make it. I don't know, I'm still debating. That is the hard part. My natural instinct is to want to go, so these are my 2 extras. This is when I first was doing it and then realized I needed to have everything decorated. So these 2 are plain. You guys get they're decorative pieces. But I have so many pieces. I almost could make 2 books. I guess I could do one set decorative, and I could do one set not, but all the tabs are on the top, and that would be my only dismay right now. All right, so let's cut these out so you can see before I run out of time what the potential of the last of the stuff is. So yeah, I'm like down to 8 minutes at the 40-minute mark. See, I talk so much. But I really love this kit. I was super excited. So it does say right here, it reminds you again, you're going to want to cut off though, first and foremost, cut through the instructions or cut just below the instructions. Because these are some more washi tape. What you see now, these are all outlined with a color that was coordinated to the image. So you can see where your boxes start and stop. And because man, did I struggle with that. So it does say fold it in half, glue them together, and then trim around the edges to give you an immediate backed items, right? And you're going to want to, you should be able to just line them up, okay, really well if you do it. And it should be right about on the line. I'm a little off, but that's where our printers and, of course, folding get in the way. Things will never be perfect on that sense, but if it bugs you, you can trim it off. Yeah, it's almost on the line, just there. And I'm hoping this still fits. Oh, my goodness. I still worry. Lining anything up is really hard, guys. Oh, my gosh. I thought this would be easier when doing this. I thought, oh, yeah, we'll put it on this side and you can line it on the back, and not as easy as it looks. If you want borders, if you want a shape or something inside of it and you're trying to border it, that's where it gets hard. That's why with the big ones, I decided to make them straight cream and lines from top to bottom. So when you cut the front, there's no white gap on the back. It's a perfectly clean cut because they are bigger and it's so much easier. You can see it. I made it very clear that there was no worry about trimming it up and having any issues. So let's see if these pan out like they're supposed to. Either way was fine. A little, because we have the borders on the sides, you can, you know, do this until you feel like you've got it exactly where you want it. But look how thick that is. You could put on your best bright white paper if you wanted a thinner card. This is on cardstock, and oh my gosh, right? It is definitely, see, I go, it is definitely something that, okay, this too would probably be easier with the paper cutter, but it takes up my whole desk. I didn't really want to do that right now. All right, so we're going to cut along the lines. Do the best you can. I would suggest, if you can, get your paper cutter out. Go along those green lines. I can mess up on a paper cutter too. That's the funny part. I can totally like mess that up. I'm bad. I am so bad with cutting. Okay, so let's cut this top one and see if we all lined up or whether I'm going to have to trim it. Still white on the sides. And I moved those in. I did make them wider, so there's not so much on top and the bottom, but this time I have stuff on the left and the right. All right, guys. Well, it's funny. You guys are going to see this video, of course, on Thursday where I said, oh yeah, I've already released this kit on Tuesday. Well, I'm a week ahead. And so, I'll tell you the truth, I'm a week ahead. I'm never live. Oh my gosh, no. So I will make sure that these guys, I think the recipe themselves are fine where they're placed. It's just that cream card. It's the cutest thing. It has little ruffles, but you can't see it when it's so little. And I'm trying to make something that doesn't work. So I will make sure the whole backing is cream, but that these recipe cards look like they're going to sit in place pretty well. I don't think that's the problem. It's just that you have a white border that doesn't make any sense whatsoever, right? Now, once it's glued, again, these pages are not very... I could trim down my side just like I did on the other ones and make that white border a little bit more even and still use them. I could care less. Personally, that's me. As long as I have it, you know, at least looks like on purpose I did it, right? Like I have the white border on purpose all the way around. I'm happy, but I will fix for you guys. You guys will never know the difference. Your kits, I promise, will have a cream background top to bottom, and that way the brown lines and the recipe word will float nicely in the middle, hopefully no matter how you fold them and glue them, and you will have a perfect little card, I promise, because I will never leave you guys stranded in that way. I'm just striking out, but I know the big cards, I did fix that, and that is going to make the best way to do this. So, ooh, but I think they were so cute. They had the little strawberries on the bottom, and they had the pot to do, you know, to cook with, or when you're making candy, or, you know, you need your pots and the little muffin, of course, for pastry, right? I had to have these. I thought they were the cutest thing. they're the cutest. They called them vintage cards, and I don't know how vintage they really were, but I mean they're a design that is created and we worked with, and so even one of them has a pastry on it, you know. So okay, so we're gonna tweak these a little bit. These were trimmed down to make it work. These are a little longer than the original ones, so yeah, I'll keep tweaking. Okay, guys, only one thing I promise. The only thing I'll fix, I'll make sure it floats beautifully. So even if you have the slightest of glitches or goofs, hopefully you'll never know when it's all cut. But I'm loving this thicker card. I'm loving the instant backing, where all you have to do is glue it together, and voila, you have it on the back, and hopefully all lines up well for you. Okay, so last but not least, let's do the front. So that, because I'm right there, aren't I? Let's cut out the front. Right, okay, now I am going to. This is where I'm going. Sorry, I have to do it. I have to cheat because I can't cut that whole thing. Not that I can cut. I know it's right in your way. I'm sorry, guys. Not that I can cut straight through either. And my printer does not print. Now, this is where I always want to cut down the side, and I can't because your tab is in the way. You'll cut your tab right off. And that's where I have to do it by hand. There's no getting around that. But I think I'm going to try something, and I'm crossing my fingers. What I will do, and what I have done before, is I will cut the edge of the top of the tab so that I only have to go the round and up to it. Now, the front cover, I did round the corners. The inside tabs, I left them square on the bottom of the paper and only rounded the tab part, of course. Right? Okay, so we've got at least that much out of the way where I am not struggling with it. And I want to clean enough cut because I'm going to have to then trace it onto, sorry, I thought I heard me, to the other piece. Now here's the fun part. Here's where I'm going to wonder, and I would definitely suggest cutting it down to the edge of your tab first. Do not try to line these up and then cut the tabs. One side will always be off. Your printer's always going to leave one top or bottom a little wider in your white space than the other side. Like the top always has a thinner margin than the bottom. Don't ask me why. While you're left to your right. Printers are weird. So I'm going to line those up and cross my fingers, and we're going to do this all at once so that they technically match, whether I leave them as a signature or whether I leave it or whether I cut it up. Now, I'm going to cut it first, and then I would go back and score wherever I wanted my binding to my signature, because I don't think, oh, this is fun. See, and I may even put the corner, see if I can get my corner crocodile in here. May go back with some of my corners and my tabs and try to use the crocodile. I have a smaller corner cutter, and I may go back and use that just to fine tune this, because even when you use the papers together, things move. I try kind of shortcuts, but usually it fails me. All right. So if it all worked, not too shabby, but yeah, I'll go back in with my crocodile. So if we left them as is, you only have the two signatures and you put them inside here. They are smaller, which is awesome. You have plenty of room. So you have plenty of room in here to do it. And if you centered it just right, right, you could see 5 different tabs, 4 and 4, but these are not decorative. And so I would definitely suggest, me personally, going in, trimming this up a little bit, gluing it down, and trimming over it. See, I'm at 40 minutes. Okay, guys. I'm going to try to wrap this up in the next 15 because I want to make sure I keep it right where I need to with you guys. So I might go back in and want to like take these little guys and glue them on, and then from the back side trim them up and decorate the tabs if I kept it as a signature. Now, right now, this fits. I don't feel like I need to score this in a way where I'd have a small, tiny little book binding. But if I start adding papers to it, now it's a funny thing. These do fit, the papers fit in the cover, but not the middle. And I'd have to double up again on the back. So if I did another set of papers in the back, I don't know. I think if we start adding stuff, it would have a great crocodile feel to it. Shorter papers. We start putting, this is just for thickness. Like say we start putting these double-sided cards. Of course, because these are thicker cards. We started adding some layers to this. Makes me wonder how it would feel, like if it would feel like even clothes. I mean, yeah, I think it could have really great potential as a journal where you didn't have to worry about ring binders. You wouldn't have to worry about the edges. Oh, man. Yeah, we'll have to see. You guys will have to watch and tell me what you think, whether to keep it and trim down the papers and add all the goodies and, you know, put the pockets in, you know, the first page of each signature tab, and then papers in here with your ledgers, your coffee papers, your avocado papers, whatever you wanted to add notes to, whatever you wanted to add more pockets to, whatever you wanted to glue. I hate to say glue, but maybe, you know, tab and put tucks on it, tucks on the pages to put other recipe cards in. You really could, but it would definitely start, you know, widening up as a standard, like a typical journal feel. And that's what you have to decide. If you want your recipe keeper to feel like a journal, like a junk journal, or whether a little bit more like a cookbook, and especially a retro cookbook, where you had the rings would be on the outside instead of the inside, though, and you could put these on cardstock and cardboard and really just layer nice thick dividers and put all the fun stuff in between, and you could flip it open through the rings. Now, you also could grab an older book, pull out all the pages on the inside, keep the binding, and find... Oh, but those are signatures, huh? Yeah, it says putting a signature inside it. So, yeah, I don't know how to make your own ring binder out of an old book. There might be a way to do that. There's probably a way to do that. And if you know a way how to take the binding of an old book, where the pages are sort of shot, and you sort of do the ring binder concept, hey, let me know. Maybe there's another way to do this. But if you've got the knowledge, you've got the supplies, go to town on this. The skies are the limits, or there isn't a limit. Keep going with it. Keep working it. Try to figure out what works best for you, how you want to keep those memories. And I'm loving the capabilities. I'm loving the possibilities of this. Oh my gosh. And that's what kills me. I feel like I could do this forever, and I don't even know where to stop and which way to go with it. So thank you for joining me today and watching this reveal and a little journal with me, brainstorming as we play with the Shabby-Retro recipe keeper. And here's all the elements. Hopefully you love them all. And it's really sweet. It's really pale with the flowers. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to layer things up. And you can make it as shabby as you want, or keep it a paler pastel retro kit, and, you know, make it a recipe book, make it a recipe keeper, make it a memory book, make whatever you want when it comes to your favorite memories of your past with your family and your relatives and the holidays and all those special events. I really hope that it inspires. I hope it tweaks some creativity. I hope it leads you in a direction that maybe you're debating on and you weren't sure, but you have two different options from me. We've got this Shabby-Retro. We have the retro sweet treats. You've got hopefully plenty to play with from me, and I hope that they go along with many other things that you find along the way to make the best journal for you. So thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for joining me. And we will see you next week. It'll be actually the beginning of April. And we are going to do some scrappy fun stuff in preparation for the botanical journal that we talked about a couple weeks ago. And that progress. So we're just going to keep working. It's spring break for us next week. So like I said, you'll have a scrappy ephemera day with me where we're just sort of playing along and putting some stuff together to keep that collection going. So thank you so much again. This is Julian with AJeweldDesign. I hope you enjoyed my Shabby-Retro recipe keeper reveal and mini journal with me. Talk to you soon. See you next week.